Welcome to StreetTV. I'm Alex Alonso with an S. You could holler at me at Alex Alonso 101 at all social media platforms. You could also drop me an email. If you visit streetgangs.com, click the contact button. You could holler at me over there. But remember when I dropped the probable cause statement in the case of Young Ant Jefe? And I explicitly said that do not report on this, do not speak on this if you're not qualified. But I got the probable cause statement by the LAPD in Young Ant Jefe's case. It's 3 pages, and I'm going to put a link to a PDF file of these 3 pages below for any of those that want to read it, review it. You guys might want to cover it. But if you're one of those platforms that has been pushing these false narratives, you ain't qualified to review and read this. So just skip over it. Because I wrote an article. I even put that 3-page statement in the article so people can download it, they can review it, they could give their opinion on it. But be accurate. Now you have the document, so there's no excuse for any more misinformation. But I was watching a video of Poetik Flakko. Now that he's looking at my document, now that he's reviewing the probable cause statement, he's trying to separate himself from some of his previous misstatements that he made about Young Ant. But what I couldn't believe is that even after he gets the document, after he reviews the document, he's still spreading misinformation while he's reading the document that I dropped about the case. But I clearly asked people such as Flakko that if you're going to run with the false narrative, the fake narrative, there's no need for you to try to now, with an official document from the LAPD, try to tell what really happened to Young Ant. But nevertheless, his attempts, they fall short. I got a few clips here I want to go through. So let's take a listen to clip number 1.
But since this NFA statement of probable cause have dropped, have we talked about it yet or no?
No, we didn't. So I want you to enlighten me a little bit more, because even when you do, I haven't seen an actual tape of Anne doing anything of that sort that he's
Okay,
accused
gotcha.
of.
So let me pull up the statement of affidavit. So first off, I'll break it down for you, right? And if you need to see the actual statement, I'll show it to you. So the police described exactly what took place. They said at about 6 p.m., the victim arrived at the unlicensed dispensary that he works at. He arrived at about 6:40-ish. At about 7:50, the first person arrived at the scene, right? And I think the first person was Theus Irvis, who ultimately stole the weed money from the car. Now, the first person, the first suspect arrived at 7:50.
That's not what the statement says. It actually says that at 6:20, Carl Welch, the victim, pulls up to 6916 Southwestern, which is on the corner of 70th and Western. And that's not the unlicensed dispensary. That's not the weed shop. The weed shop is actually on Florence and Normandy that Carl Welch works for. So he's got the document right in front of him, and it doesn't even state that. And for those who are still interested in the document, there'll be a link below that you can go download it and review it for yourself. The statement also does not say that the first person that arrives is Irving Theus. It doesn't say that. According to the LAPD statement, they actually have no idea who the first person is, because there are several unknown persons that at this time, as of today, have not been identified. The statement does not state that the first person even arrives at 7:50. Actually, nowhere in the timeline, according to the statement, is 7:50 even brought up. The first suspect, according to the statement, arrives at approximately 7 p.m. Now, this is obviously an unknown person because they would have said Theus arrived or Shellman arrived. No, they just say the first suspect. So they don't know who that is, and it's 7 p.m. So there are three important facts that he got wrong just in that one clip. Even though he has the statement right there on his computer, he's getting several parts of the statement incorrect. And I think it's partly because they're recording what we call live tape, meaning there's no editing, there's no let me redo that, or let's cut this part out. They're live taping. So this is what you get when you're dealing with a live person who's so used to putting out misinformation. Let's go to the second clip.
Now, within 10 minutes from 9:33 to 9:45 p.m., they said Aaron Jefe got out the car, Johnny Gray got out the car, and Jefe attempted to intervene between a conflict between the victim who died and an unidentified suspect. Now, within trying to intervene that conflict, Johnny Gray took off on the victim. Bah! And when the victim fell, Johnny Gray kicked his head in multiple times, just bah, 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 nonstop. Straight kicks to the head, nonstop. Now, Ed Jefe, when the victim fell, while Johnny Gray is kicking him, Ed Jefe began to punch him while the victim was on the ground. And Ed Jefe is on camera, Maurice Sherman punching the victim while he's on the ground.
When he was
Afterwards,
previously trying to intervene and break it up.
no, it's a conflict between the victim and an unidentified suspect. So we don't know if they pull up and say, hey, bruh, chill, leave him alone. We here for our business. You handle this a little later. We don't know. But he intervened between a conflict between a victim and an unidentified suspect. It's unclear if that conflict had anything to do with the Jefe and Johnny Gray conflict with him. But once Johnny Gray took off, Jefe also joined in and beat him up as well.
Wow. That's all I got to say to that. Wow. All right, let me go through this clip really fast. Nowhere in the statement does it say that Johnny Gray took off on the victim Welch, at the point Young Ant was trying to intervene. No, it does not say that. The statement does not say that Johnny Gray kicked to the head multiple times. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that at all. The statement does not say that Young Ant was hitting the victim while Johnny Gray was kicking him. Nowhere in the statement does it say that. Now, this is all Flakko's imagination. And here's the worst part of it. This is the worst part of it. Flakko is trying to characterize the part where the statement claims that Young Ant was intervening between victim Welch and an unknown suspect. He's trying to make a distinction between this unidentified suspect who had a conflict and the conflict between Young Ant, Johnny Gray, and the victim. He's trying to make it seem like there's two different conflicts here, diminishing Young Ant intervening between the victim and this unknown guy. So what Flakko's trying to say is that Young Ant was only intervening because he's trying to tell this unknown suspect, hey, we got first dibs on victim Welch. You got to step to the side. And that's what Flakko is trying to say the reason for the intervening is. Completely made up. It doesn't say that in the probable cause statement. And he's trying to make it sound as if Young Ant and Johnny Gray, they got first dibs at the victim, and this unknown suspect has got to wait. Again, it doesn't state that in the probable cause statement at all. And I mean, who needs enemies when you got friends like Flakko, boy? So that might have went over your heads when he originally said that, but That's kind of very slanderous, that last statement he made. But let's go to the third clip.
Now, while the victim is lying on the ground unconscious, Ant Jefe, he pointed to Theus Urban and said, yo, go into his car and grab that bag. Now, the bag had, according to them, the rent money for the dispensary, but I think it was much more than the rent money. I think it was like the money that they made for the day at the dispensary, right? And they had it in that bag. And Jefe pointed to the dude and said, yo, go grab that bag. Dude went into the car, grabbed the bag, and brought it out and gave it to Ant Jefe. So now they got Ant Jefe being a part of like the beating, as well as Ant Jefe being the orchestrator and the leader of the robbery, right? Because dude robbed the car on behalf of Ant Jefe. Now, all of this is captured on camera, all of it. So now this narrative, because T-Rod tried to push this, yo, bro, it was just there, bro. He didn't do nothing. Man, nah, man, wrong place, wrong time. Oh, nah, man, on groove, bro, nah, man. Hold on, T-Rod. Hold on, T-Rod. This is not that. He said, not only was Ant a participator in the beatdown. Now, I'll be real. I don't think Ant punch to the head killed it. I think Johnny Gray kicking his in his head repeatedly while he's on the ground. I feel like that right there is like what killed him. That, or when he fell, he probably hit his head when he fell, right? But yeah, Ant Jefe is on camera doing everything they are accusing him of doing.
Wow. All right. First of all, Young Ant never said to Irving Theus, go grab the bag. That is not in the probable cause statement. As far as we know, there is no audio from the camera that picked up on this incident. That also assumes that Young Ant already knew that victim Welch had a bag in the car. That's not in the probable cause statement. That's completely unknown. The LAPD actually never said that the bag was the rent money. The victim's wife told the LAPD that the owner of the dispensary told her that Welch keeps money in a bag in the car. So that's basically third-party hearsay, inadmissible information. So what does the LAPD do? They go to the owner of the dispensary and they get a statement from the owner that confirmed that the victim did work at the dispensary. And here's what's very important. And he would keep money in his vehicle, rent money. He would keep rent money in a bag in his vehicle. Would keep. Very important. That's the wording in the probable cause statement. Now, if this missing bag was the actual rent money, don't you think the owner of the dispensary would have told the LAPD, yeah, we're missing this month's rent money since Mr. Welch has passed? And the LAPD would have said that it was confirmed by the owner that they're missing rent money. But the probable cause statement does not say anything close to that. Now, here's another really damaging part that Flakko was trying to put on Young Ant. Flakko is claiming that the bag probably didn't include the rent money. You heard what he said. It probably included the dispensary proceeds or the profits of the weed dispensary. That would be more money than the rent money. And that's nowhere in the statement at all. That's him completely speculating, embellishing, adding that to the story without any evidence, no information. That's just his imagination. So what Flakko's actually trying to do when he says that, he's increasing the value of that bag. And when you increase the value of that bag, you increase Young Ant's exposure to jail time if he is found guilty of this crime. But the LAPD would have stated that after they spoke to the owner of the dispensary, they learned that it was the daily profits. They learned that it was earnings from the store. But the statement does not say that at all. That is Flakko making that up. Again, a link to the probable cause statement will be down below. And again, there's no audio on this surveillance video that we know of. At least according to the probable cause statement, there is no indication that any audio was captured of what any person said in that parking lot. But let's take a closer look at the cameras in that parking lot. If you look at the corner of 70th and Western, you'll see these two high poles. These two, I guess you could say they're utility poles. There are some utility wires that appear to be connected to a cross beam. And I have those two red circles. The circle closer to the view is one camera that's completely pointing down into the parking lot. And then I have a second circle, which is a little bit difficult to see, but let me get a close-up of that. And there is the close-up of that. And if you notice, it's actually two cameras. There is the static surveillance camera that looks to be pointing into the parking lot along the wall. That's the one on the bottom. And then there's one above it. And that, my friends, is a surveillance camera that is most likely owned by the city of Los Angeles. And that camera there appears to be a central P2Z camera with the ability to pan, tilt, and zoom around that cylinder there. And it is unknown if these cameras have microphones or if they pick up audio. But if they do, look how high these cameras are mounted. The roof of that building there is 16 feet, and that camera appears to be at least twice the height. So we're talking about a camera that's mounted between 30 and 35 feet above ground. And we don't know exactly where in this parking lot the incident would have happened. That even if there are audio microphones on these cameras, how well would it have picked it up? But also keep in mind that we are reading from a probable cause statement written by the LAPD, and the probable cause statement is not evidence in this case. This statement was written with the intent to get a judge to sign off on a warrant to make the arrests of 3 people. These statements are often not accurate, and any information that turns out to be false will later be excused by the police as a mistake. But we have, I'll give you an example of a probable cause statement that was full of misinformation and lies that actually led to the death of an innocent person, Breonna Taylor. We later learned that the probable cause statement written by Detective Jaynes, that's Jaynes, but Detective Jaynes wrote up a probable cause statement that included fabricated information to convince a judge to sign off on a search warrant so they can go in Breonna Taylor's home, which ultimately led to her murder by the Louisville Police Department. Former Louisville Detective Jaynes fabricated paragraph 9 of this probable cause statement, where he writes, affiant verified, that would be Detective Jaynes, he's the affiant. The affiant verified through a U.S. postal inspector that Jamarcus Glover has been receiving packages at 3003 Springfield Drive. That would have been Breonna Taylor's home, apartment 4. Jaynes was investigating Glover for drugs and made up the story that he was receiving packages of drugs mailed to Breonna Taylor's house. The U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service confirmed that Detective Jaynes never spoke to the U.S. Postal Inspector about Jamarcus Glover, or Breonna Taylor's apartment. We later learned that a postal worker actually told Sergeant John Mattingly of the Louisville Police Department that Glover never received packages at Breonna Taylor's home. So Detective Jaynes intentionally included packages in the probable cause statement. That's lie number one. And he fabricated direct verification from a U.S. postal inspector that he never spoke to. That's lie number two. To create a false link between drug trafficking that was occurring and Breonna Taylor's house. All lies. And that's why federal prosecutors eventually indicted Detective Jaynes for civil rights violations, conspiracy, and falsifying a document to obstruct justice. Prosecutors under the Trump administration eventually dismissed that case earlier this year in 2026, but the judge did rule that Jaynes's false statements in that probable cause statement, in that warrant, were not legal. And it was the direct cause for Breonna Taylor's murder. He actually said death, but I'm calling that a murder. So most lies that are written by the police in probable cause statements usually do not lead to the death of an innocent person, and that's why this case was investigated so thoroughly. Probable cause statements are not evidence, and that's why we have trials. These documents should not be read as a matter of fact, and then with extras like Flakko does. I saw a brother Chill from 16 to Life. He went to my website, he downloaded the probable cause statement, and he read it word for word. And then perhaps he provided some opinions, but he didn't manipulate the information the way Flakko does. And think about this. They already dismissed all charges against the third defendant that was named in that probable cause statement that had a search warrant or a body warrant for his arrest, Irvin Theus. And they dropped the case against Irvin Theus due to insufficient evidence. But go back and read that probable cause statement. Go download it. It's down below. Go read it. According to that statement by the LAPD and gang detective Lagunas, Theus is seen pulling up. He's an identified and documented A-Tray Gangsta Crip member. He is seen speaking with the victim. And according to Flakko, Young Ant told Theus, hey, go to the victim's car and go get that bag of money for me.
Now, while the victim is lying on the ground unconscious, Aaron Jefe, he pointed to Theus Urban and said, yo, go into his car and grab that bag. Now, the bag had, according to them, the rent money for the dispensary, but I think it was much more than the rent money. I think it was like the money that they made for the day at the dispensary, right? And they had it in that bag.
And of course, we know that's not what the statement says. The statement says detective wrote, from video surveillance, it appeared that Irving Theus acted under the direction of Shellman. That's all it says. The probable cause statement really made Theus seem like he was a participant, didn't it? Part of the robbery. They gave him $1 million bail after he was arrested. A judge issued a warrant for Irvin Theus, but all his charges were dismissed. Why? Is all this information in the probable cause statement untrue regarding Mr. Theus? Or did they confuse Theus for another person? But they also linked his fingerprints to victim Welch's car. And the gang cop, Lagunas, identifies him as not only an A-Tray Gangsta Crip member, but someone that is committing a robbery on camera. Case dismissed. I wonder why. If he's guilty and he decided to cooperate, they would definitely keep him in custody until the case is over. So I know a lot of people are going to immediately say, oh, he must be telling, he must be cooperating. But then why would they release him? Because if they release him, then he can just disappear and not show up. Or does this probable cause statement have some issues that need to be ironed out? Time will tell. We will find out. But let me play clip number 4.
Aaron Jefe probably has more pictures and videos of him on the internet than probably any other murder case, probably other than David, in the history of Earth. I don't think Ant Jefe go like make out good with this one. I'm sorry.
In the history of Earth, did you hear that? In the history of Earth, there's more footage of Young Ant as a murder suspect than any other person other than the singer David, who's currently facing his own charges. He's basically saying that there's so much video and pictures of Young Ant that the police can use as evidence to implicate him that it's going to make the case worse. Well, let me remind you guys of OJ Simpson, who was also a murder suspect many years ago, and with far more footage, far more photos of him in existence. In fact, they use footage of him wearing a pair of unique isotoner gloves during a football game while he was working as a commentator for NBC. They claim that these were the same gloves that were left at the scene of the homicide. At least one glove was left at the murder scene. Another glove was thrown over the gate at his property at Rockingham and found there. Well, they used content, videos of him wearing those gloves. And if you remember how that trial went, that was a huge debacle in the trial for then prosecutor Christopher Darden, because apparently the gloves did not fit. And also in OJ Simpson's civil case, they used photos of him wearing Bruno Magli shoes that initially OJ Simpson denied that he even had. Check out this clip.
Did you ever buy shoes that you knew were Bruno Magli shoes?
No, because I know if Bruno Magli makes shoes that look like the shoes they had in court that's involved in this case, I would have never worn those ugly-ass shoes.
But then, months later, a photograph emerges, first in the National Enquirer. O.J. Simpson wearing Bruno Magli shoes at a football game, 9 months before the murders.
And that is a picture of you looking at Exhibit 1, correct?
It appears to be me, yes.
Okay. Looking at the close-up of the shoes, do you believe that those were shoes that you owned at that time?
No.
The killer of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman left a key piece of evidence at the scene of the crime, a shoe print stamped in the victim's blood.
It was a size 12 shoe.
And the brand? Bruno Magli. Only 299 pairs of that shoe in that size ever sold.
OJ said he would never wear them ugly ass shoes, but nevertheless, they got a picture of him wearing them. And we've had other famous celebrities, athletes that have been tried for murder. They had a lot of videos, pictures of them in existence. You have Robert Blake, who was acquitted of killing his wife. You have NFL tight end Aaron Hernandez, who was actually not only found guilty of that murder, but they actually used footage from his own home surveillance to link him to one of the homicides he was found guilty of. And then you got other people like actor Michael Jace from The Shield. So I don't think Young Ant, in the history of the earth, has more pictures and video of him in existence. Now, all those 4 clips I just played for you were from the same segment. I got another clip from a whole new segment where he tries to clean it up. He tries to backpedal. And here's what he had to say.
Okay, so my thing is this. Now, Ant is upset. Understood, bro. Ant got every reason to be upset. Ant said, hey, bro, like the car you claim was my car. Hey, bro, that's not the exact model. Okay, bro. Hey, bro, listen, man, all right? I would never put nothing out there. I would put nothing out there if I thought it would hurt Ant, okay? So.
Wow. But he actually did tell an entire story implicating Young Ant in a homicide that he had absolutely nothing to do with, the one on Slawson. Let's go back to his original reporting on this. This is the one where he was wearing the yellow hoodie. But actually, before we watch that, where did Flakko even get this story from? Where is the reports? Where is the information? Where are the sources? Why is he even reporting that Young Ant shot and killed Mr. Coleman at the taco truck? Where did he get that story from? Listen to this.
Nah, I never knew nothing about it. I don't know them dudes over there. I'm not really.
So you have people from that community who are telling you shit, but they did not tell you that.
Nah, we didn't know nothing about it. And on top of that, two of my people that's on my team that talk to them dudes every day, they didn't know nothing about it. Think about it. 600 reported on the taco shit.
Yeah.
I'm the one gave Flakko the video.
Okay, of the taco shop.
Yeah, I gave Flakko the video.
So you were convinced by the taco thing temporarily?
Well, I got a call from over there saying Ant's in jail for killing the homie.
Right.
And I'm like, well, shit, they don't know that. He said, Wack, the other dude already from his neighborhood to do with the gap in his mouth, Young Woo is his name, right?
Yeah.
Had already said it, right? So then when I called over there, they said, bro, we got the video. They sent me the video. So when I'm looking at the video, I'm like, I see a bunch of people, and you know, I don't really know Ant's cars like that. I'm like, all right, well, he been picked up. They say, Wack, here go the video to it. So I sent it to Flakko.
So that is his source. One of the most pathological liars on the internet. This guy is a compulsive liar, lies about almost everything, and that is the source for linking Young Ant Jefe to this homicide. That video that Flakko received has nothing to do with the video for this case, has nothing to do with Young Ant Jefe. But let's go back to his original reporting when he was wearing that yellow hoodie, because you just heard in this clip where he said he would never put anything out there if it would hurt Young Ant Jefe.
I knew it was murder from the very beginning and the very gate. But when I got the full details and when I got an understanding of what exactly took place and how he got a murder charge, I put myself in his shoes, and the first thing I said was, man, I'm just lucky it wasn't me, man, because I don't see myself doing anything differently from what Ant Jefe did. I want to preface this by saying, if the story is true, then what Ant Jefe did is something that a lot of us, if we were in his shoes, we would probably do the same thing. A lot of us have a certain level of distrust and hatred in our hearts for dudes in the streets. And if we leave our home, the last thing we want is for a street dude to breathe on me. The last thing I want is for a street dude to interrupt my day, to disturb my day, to breathe on me in public. Young Ant Jefe at about 2 a.m. in the morning went over and tried to get some tacos. He's standing in line for some tacos. So Young Ant Jefe is at the taco stand, minding his business, trying to get some tacos, trying to eat. But the Pablo blood pull up. Instantly, an altercation breaks out. He starts to bang on Young Ant Jefe. Where you from, blood? And Jefe, I'm from A-Tray Gangsta Crib. Now, when Young Ant Jefe gets back into his car, the Pablo blood follows Young Ant Jefe to his car. And Jefe is in the car. The Pablo blood is still talking ish from the vehicle. And Young Ant Jefe just had enough, man. Just had enough. Pulled out the pistol, shot about 7 to 8 times. Bro got hit, bro died. And now we're here. Allegedly, because he's still fighting the case, he could be completely innocent. This could have all been a misunderstanding. So allegedly, people, allegedly.
And as of right now, that video is still up, which lets you know that guy does not care. He already got wind that Young Ant is upset about the way he reported it. He eventually learned that the taco truck murder has nothing to do with Young Ant. He eventually went to my website, downloaded the probable cause statement, and got a better understanding of what he's charged with. But that video is still up. If he was truly apologetic, that video would have been removed ASAP. As soon as he heard that Young Ant was disappointed, that video should have came down. Let's play another clip from this same segment.
Oh, Ant, me saying, hey, Ant, it's all good, bro. You feel me, bro? Ant, listen, bro, if you need me, Ant, I'm here, my G. You feel me? If you need me for anything, Ant, I'm here, bro. Hit me up.
He need you. That bond is what, $2 million?
Yeah. And you can't, like he need like
200,000?
You can't be saying, oh, I'm sorry. You can't be like, oh, I'm sorry for saying you committed murder and you did it. Like, what type of shit you doing? You can't be like, oh, I'm sorry for putting out this false information. I'm so sorry for putting out this false information that could implicate you in any type of crime or murder. Sorry, and my bad. It didn't happen. Like, you can't just be doing like that, man. So I know he wanted you on that. He ready to beat your ass Flakko.
If you watch my
He
video,
ready to beat
no,
your. I know he
no.
heard the video, and I know if Munchie
And
B
I
gonna put
said
10s on it for
allegedly.
sure.
Listen,
Allegedly, but you
listen.
still saying that you can't even put it out there in the world because you know what the universe is happening. You
I
put this
said
stuff, the
allegedly,
power
bro.
that.
Did you hear him say that he never said that Young Ant committed murder? That is exactly what he said in that original video. But I want to spend a little bit of time on this word allegedly. Yes, it is true. Flakko told this whole story, several minutes long, putting Ant at the scene, saying he got into an altercation, saying he went there to get tacos, saying that they gangbanged on each other, A-Trade gangster, went to the car, and then shot and killed this dude. And then at the end of the story, he tries to say, allegedly. That is not the way the word is used. That is an improper use of the word allegedly, and it will not protect you from defamation.
Pulled out the pistol, shot about 7 to 8 times. Bro got hit, bro died. And now we're here. Allegedly, because he's still fighting the case. He could be completely innocent. This could have all been a misunderstanding. So allegedly, people, allegedly.
So if Young Ant really wanted to pursue something against Flakko just for that one video, he would 100% win. And you can't say allegedly. I think most people don't understand that there's a certain way that you can use allegedly. You cannot say allegedly and then tell an entire story that is completely made up, implicating someone in a murder. You can't do that. He actually implicated Young Ant in the murder of Deshaun Coleman. That's not allegedly. When you say something is allegedly, you need to know how to use the word correctly. You cannot use allegedly as a shield, as a protection against defamation, and that is exactly what he's using here. And then tell an entirely false story without any sources. What is he citing? What is he sourcing? He's not citing or sourcing anything. He is making it up. Therefore, allegedly is an improper use. And it's also improper when you start to add your own assumptions, when you start to speculate, and when you're putting somebody at the scene of a crime falsely. You cannot then follow that up with allegedly. Actually, listen to this lawyer from Stonegate Legal talk about the use of the word allegedly.
Many assume that by prefacing an accusation with, "it is alleged," or "allegedly," you're safe from defamation claims. But the law cares about the overall impression your publication gives to an ordinary, reasonable reader. If that impression suggests guilt or misconduct, using alleged will not necessarily protect you. Even if technically it's presented as an allegation, readers may still infer guilt when context, headlines, tone, or presentation push that impression. Courts must assess the publication as a whole, not isolate single words. Neutral reporting is not a free pass. Disclaimers, denials, or alleged used later in the text may not undo the harm caused by a strong headline or striking image. Courts are wary that readers will latch onto the defamation sting before absorbing the qualifiers. Even in reports of official proceedings, merely quoting allegations or stating "it is alleged" does not ensure protection. The report must be fair, accurate, and substantial. To stay safe, you need substance, accuracy, fairness, balance, and where needed, a solid legal defense, not just a qualifying word.
So when you're making statements like Flakko was making, you have to be fair, you have to be accurate, you have to have some substance, and it's got to be well balanced. And would you say that Flakko exhibited any of those traits, those elements, when he told that story about Young Ant? Absolutely not. Thanks for tapping in with StreetTV.